Hi guys, and welcome back here to the Dev Realm, and today we carry on with our series. And in the last episode, what we did here is that we set up those selections in here. So we have selected, we have set up our sockets, so it's ready now to receive our other parts. So what we're gonna do here is, in the previous video we clean up the place mode here, and in this video we're gonna clean up the preview mode here, right? So let's do here the same thing that we did for the place it to the preview mode. So if you go back here to our parent component in here, we have created the API enable part collision, and we have created here the API enable socket collision. Now we need to do the reverse. So let's create here a custom event, and we're going to call API disable part collision. And let's just move this here and just rename it because I messed up the name. Right, then this is gonna need a component, so we're gonna put input here is going to be a component right now. Yeah, oh, I'm just gonna rename that disable part collision. I'm gonna copy and paste. I'm just gonna leave this here for now, and then after we'll do the logic. So let's do this one first. So the first here, the type is wrong. We need to change that to how's it called here? Primitive component object reference. So here's gonna be a primitive. Let me check here. Primitive component object reference. Nice. So we can do here is just copy and paste this, right? We're gonna place this thing here. And then what we're gonna do here is we're gonna now enable and disable the collisions, right? So let's do that. So to do this, what we're gonna do here is that we basically need to come here and check what we did on the preview mode, which is that we set up all the stuff here to ignore. So we can copy that straight away. Coming here, let's just actually, yeah, we got everything here. Let's just put ignore on all those, right? Okay, and now let's just rename here to this will disable the mesh collision. So we can drag and drop the part around. Now we can put this like a red color or something. And here we're gonna copy that name, go back in here, and from that we're gonna call that API disable part collision. We're just gonna put our body there, and then we're gonna just remove all this stuff, so we don't need all this complicated code, and that should work exactly the way it was before. Here we still need it, which is gonna set our collision, our material. And before we can press play, let's do the same for the sockets. So the sockets here is really cool. So we're gonna copy this logic that's already implemented. We're gonna go back to our parent here. Remember that we have created this component that it's gonna paste here. I'm gonna connect that here. And if you notice, now we have this return socket ref. So we're gonna copy that. I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna paste this down. So this is gonna go here. We're gonna plug this guy here, and that's gonna go here. And at the moment we have access to the socket, so we have access to the sphere. And in here we're just gonna call something like disable the socket collision, right? So now this is gonna be let's just put something like color like red again. And what we can do here is let's see if this works first, and then we can organize that part. So now what we're gonna do here is we can now get out all the sockets there, bring it over here. Let's delete all that stuff, and let's start it by adding those sockets together. So what we're gonna do here is that we're gonna call, how do we call this? API, we haven't renamed it, so let's call API disable socket collision, right? Socket collision. Let's copy this, compile and save. Let's go back in here and let's select this guy. First one. So the target self. So let's see. Now we just need to do some cleanup here. So I'm gonna copy that. plug it in here, copy and paste. So we just need 6. So I'm gonna do here, copy and paste, just to make things faster. And now what we do is that we're gonna put number 2 here, number 3, number 4, 5, and then 6. Now it's a little bit messy. Let's just try to organize this. Right, let's press play and let's see if this is actually working. Come back here and I can see that, yeah, it's allowing me to actually place my sockets in the right location. So it allows me to create some really crazy design here. Yeah, maybe we should kind of create some kind of a quick action here, but I can see that this crazy thing here is working really well. And now what we can do here is that we need to somehow disable these sockets. So we need to disable this socket appearance because it's really hard to see our parts without this stuff on the way. So the fastest way and the easiest way you can actually do that is just by coming here to the socket. We're gonna go open up the base socket, and what we're gonna do here is we're gonna basically go to the begin play. We're gonna get this, and we're gonna set visibility to false. And yeah, and if I press compile and save, I am not able to see the socket, but I know that the thing is snapping on the right location right now. All right, cool. So that is really, really cool. Nice. I think that is really promising how we can do this. Let's just do a crazy arrow here. And then I think you guys, now we need to fix this issue here. That what we want to do here is I only want to be able to put my socket if I'm aiming to the right socket. Otherwise, so we're gonna basically put this thing in a red color if you can't place, and then the thing's not gonna allow us to place anywhere. Otherwise, we're gonna have parts that they're not gonna snap together, and this can cause problems. But so guys, just to give context here, you guys can see already more or less what's coming up here, right? So we are kind of doing like a really basic car here. So there you go, we have a car coming up. So yeah, I think it's looking quite cool. But now let's go back here and let's check, let's fix that issue. So the issue that we got here is that we only want to basically be able to place a part if that part is facing a socket, right? So the way we can actually do that, it's pretty simple, is let's close everything here. We don't need this anymore. Let's go back to our components. Let's open up our modular car here. And what we're gonna do that is one thing here as well, just to improve one quick thing here. In this, where we are in place mode, what we're gonna do that is that we're gonna get actor location. And in this way, we can just plug this here and plug the false straight away there. And I am pretty much sure that this is gonna work properly because there we go, that works fine. And the reason why we did this is now we don't need to cast, we don't care about the sphere location because the socket always have the right place. So that is just a less casting, less resource intense thing that we want to do here as well. Right. So now what we can do here is we are in place mode and we need somehow some kind of a flag that says, okay, you can place the part or something like this. So then we can actually use that to do certain things, right? So let's go back here to our modular part here. So where is the modular part here? Let me just double check. Widgets, go back here. Let's open up our car, the base car parts. And in here, we need another material so we can change that state to basically say is in preview mode, but you can't do certain things or you can do certain things. So what we're going to do here is in the materials, we're going to duplicate this, and we say we have preview material, and let's call this preview material can place, and then we're going to have another one called preview material can't place, right? So, or basically, let's just change this to something like preview material place allowed, and then we're gonna have another one here just to rename here to say material place not allowed, right? So you guys can see where I'm going with this. Let's create another material that with a different color. Let's just put this right color here. Let's call this preview not allowed or something like this. Let's change this to red, like that. Cool. Save. And what we're gonna do here is that we're gonna go back to our base car here, and we have the place mode here. So we have a place mode that will do certain things. So what we're gonna do here is that we're gonna create another function in the event graph, and we have delete mode, we have in placed mode. Let's create another one here. We're gonna create here, we're gonna call custom event, and let's go API preview mode not allowed, or something like this, right? And in here we're gonna create another function, and we're gonna call preview mode, we're gonna call not allowed, and we're gonna bring this inside the states. And let's go back to the event graph, and we're gonna bring that here, right? Cool. We're gonna compile and save. And now all we're gonna do here is we need to find so first let's make sure that we set up this how's it called, a variable not allowed. Yeah, let's just set up this here to the not allowed, so you can use that variable later. Now what we do here is that we come back to the socket, to the car part. Let's open up, let's save everything first. Let's open up here the car base body, and in here we're gonna override another function. What is it called? Actually, preview part not allowed. And what we are going to do here is that we're gonna get our part here, and we're gonna set a material. And the material we're gonna set here is that get preview part material not allowed. Come back that, which is really cool. Compile and save. Nice. And let's now go back to our modular car here. This is the BPC component. Yep. And then what we're gonna do here is that we have to do somehow a logic in here that will basically say if you are moving the actor, you can't place it, but if you are in the right socket, you can place it, right? To do this is really simple. In here already moving the actor location, so we're just gonna get our preview part here, and we are gonna set, we're gonna call here API set, so we're gonna call it a preview part not allowed. All right, something like this. Compile and save. And then for this guy here, let me just align this better. We're gonna have to do some cleanup after this, because otherwise it'll be hard to read this. And at this point here, now what we can do is just call API preview part mode. And there we go. Compile and save. And now let's press play. And let's see what's gonna happen. So now we have the body. Here, I think this preview part mode not allowed. Let's check if you're using the wrong color in there. So we're gonna have here preview mode. Oh, sorry, that's the base part. Car parts. I opened up the wrong one. That's why. We have opened up the wrong one. We need to use this one here. The BP card body. I was on the wrong part. I may need to delete that part just in case, because I'm kind of getting confused. So I'm just going to preview here. No, allow it. Just going to paste that code in. All right. File and save. I'm just going to delete this because otherwise I'm going to get confused. We don't need that part anymore. So we have our base part set up. Let's see what's going to happen now. So now it should be red. So we can't place it. And once it goes there, it's green, which is awesome. So everything working really, really good. Now there's one thing here that I want to do it as well, is that I want to don't allow the placement here. So if for some reason that thing is red, we don't want the player to be allowed to place that part in here, right? So what we're gonna do here is we are gonna create a boolean that will basically tell us if the player is allowed to place that part. Is that yes or no, right? So we're gonna create here another variable, and this variable is gonna be called is placement allowed, or let's just call better names like is part placement allowed. And let's set up that. Let's bring this inside the building mode. And now what we're going to do here is that we're going to set these to false. We're going to set these to true if you allow it to place, right? Which is awesome. We're going to compile and save this code. And the last thing we got to do for this lesson is that on the event graph, we're going to go here to, where is it? Widget, modular car system. Remember that we have our replacement system, so we got the confirm, we rotate the part. Let's just put this name here, and here we got the start building mode. And where is the place where we confirm the placement? Let me just double check where it was. API, place mode, confirm. Yeah, here, confirm action. Let me put this red, green, and let's change this to a different color, just because it's less confusing here. So now we are in place mode, and before we can do this, we need to make sure that that variable is true, right? So can the player place is part placement allowed, right? If this is allowed, we can do something like that. Let's see how it's gonna work. So we have the body. So I can't click here, there's nothing happening, my part's not allowed. But what I can do here is if I come that, I can place my part. So yeah, I think it's really cool what's happening here right now. We got a bunch of spots. So what happened here is that we don't have any more mistakes in here. Like the player can only click in those cubes here, right? So we can place stuff there, we can place cube here, and so on and so forth. So we don't have any more mistake placing parts in that, which is really cool. So yeah, guys, I think that's everything for this lesson. I think we're getting very close here to a very interesting system, a very useful thing here. And I think in the next lesson, what we're going to be doing here is just doing some cleanup in those functions, make sure that they're more readable, and then we're going to be able to start placing our cards. So once again, thank you very much for watching, and I see you guys in the next lesson.